you have these very imaginative and very particular schemes, and I don't necessarily want to know where those schemes come from, but I want to know, when you're getting a film ready, do the schemes come first and the characters follow, or do they come together?
Hello, everybody. So I think, yeah, we first think of, well, I've written my last 3 films. I've made 4 films, actually. I've written my last 3 films with the same co-writer, and ever since we finished the first film that we wrote together, which was Dogtooth, which was an idea I took to him, and then we wrote it together. We just start, every time we finish a film, we just start discussing what it is that we want to do next, what interests us, and it can be either a subject or a very small idea about something, a situation that we observe, and then we try to construct either a story or a more detailed situation that we want to explore, or a what-if kind of situation. And after that, we do write like a synopsis of an actual story with characters. So I guess, yes, your question is, the schemes probably come first.
And with this one in particular, was kind of the bifurcation between the world of the hotel and the world of the forest, did it always kind of come halfway through, and these very definitive 2 worlds?
Yeah, it was early on like that, on the screenplay. We just thought that, you know, the world wouldn't be complete without, you know, the opposition or the other kind of society that considers themselves free or different. Yeah, that's how it was.
And then perhaps before we open it up to the audience, I want to talk a little bit about music, because though there's a wide variety of music played, and I just noticed at the end that the songs Colin Farrell kind of sings are Nick Cave songs, but really overall in the score, you can't help but think of horror films. And is this movie kind of a horror film to you?
I thought it was more romantic than horror. Why are they laughing? So I have to change my answer now. Wait. Yeah, no, I think I used the music in a dramatic way, which, yes, usually is done a lot in horror. I think my inspiration was more like Hitchcock films and how very intense music is used there. That was a very initial thought of mine. I haven't really used music in my previous films, and this is the first time that I'm using music as a soundtrack so extensively. And I was just trying to find a way, I wanted the music to be really present and as another character in the film, rather than being in the background as something which repeats, you know, what the scene is all about, or and in that way, in my opinion, it makes, you know, the film narrower instead of opening it up. So I wanted to be contradicting, I wanted to be present, and I wanted to be abrupt. So that was the thinking behind using the music.
And then I want to ask you a little bit about your character, because when we were talking about the 2 worlds, your character is one of the few that bridges both. How do you perceive her?
I don't know more than what you know about her, because we never really try to build things around what is in the script, so we don't create like a background or another story. But yeah, I had the chance to be in these 2 worlds, which we are kind of the same in the end. But yeah, no, they are Yorgos' work is very practical and physical, and he doesn't want to explain much, so it's very instinctive, and it's a lot about the present and about the interaction with the other actors, and it's a lot about being lost and accepting being lost. So in the two worlds with other and other environments, it was the same rules.
Yeah, there's a lot of cruelty in both. All right, well, we don't have a microphone in the audience, but if you have a question, just make yourself known, and I'll try and look up in the balcony as well. Yes? So the question is about how in a number of your films your characters speak in a monotone, and is it because you think emotion would get in the way, or for another reason?
Was it that monotone? Yeah, well, I think I don't find it monotone in a bad way. I just think there's a certain rhythm and music to how we write the screenplay, and that has a voice of its own. I think there are many ways to approach how actors perform and how they're present in films, and I think starting from the writing to a general aesthetic, I believe that what we do is as impactful as it can be overall. So I think approaching it the simplest way possible, the text and the actors being present, and adding all the scenes one after the other, and adding music and adding sound and the story progressing creates the necessary emotion, instead of trying to have them trying to describe an emotion or fake an emotion. So that it's just a way of approaching it as someone else might be approaching it in a different way.
But if I can add something, whenever I speak for myself, and I think the other actors as well, we never have in mind that we have to be like monotone. It's, I think, full of very contradictory feelings and situations, and I think it's quite full. I mean, as an actor, it's a very strong experience to go through that, but we don't have to just explain what we're feeling. That's maybe the difference with other kind of acting.
In the balcony?
While we're on the topic of dialogue, I really loved the way that you wrote everything. I just thought it was wonderfully detailed, in the sense that everyone seemed to speak with so much honesty within the entire time, but then I found myself questioning, well, is it honesty, or is it kind of just a description of what's happening so you can, find a connection with another human, and is that really what you were going for in terms of how people portrayed themselves within that world?
So it's more a comment, but she appreciated the honesty of the dialogue, and gosh, I lost my train of thought.
Like within that honesty, like it's really not necessarily honesty, it's more a list of reasons of why they did what they did, and whether or not they're justifying something, and whether or not that's really considered the truth.
That there's a specificity to their dialogue, and
Yeah.
but it might be their perception of it rather than the truth.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what to say to that, but I guess it's true to them at every minute that they're going through it. So, and sometimes there's a lot of lying in the film. There's a lot of characters lying and pretending, and trying to do other things that they were supposed to do, but I think there's something about the honesty of the actors which is connected to what we said before. Because as I said again, I don't think they do something in a monotone way or without a feeling. We've used to maybe seeing other types of cinema or TV done in a different way, and we kind of think that that's what reality is. But I think it's different for every person, for every character, for every different kind of film. So yeah, I think I was as confused as the question.
I guess what I'm trying to figure out with that question is the way that you wrote it meant to be comments on like the systemic nature of both sides of those worlds. Because on each side they're both talking very differently with each other one-on-one in those conversations. So like to me, like the way people were talking was kind of a comment on like the systematic process of what they were going through.
So is the way that they speak perhaps relevant to the two different worlds?
I just don't understand. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I want to just, if there's the first scene where the woman goes and shoots the donkey, and then the donkey goes over, I was just trying to think of how, obviously that donkey is somebody turned into an animal, but do you have any thoughts like why you put that in there?
Who was the donkey?
I have no idea, but yeah, the purpose was for you to be thinking that.
And how did you get the camel in the woods? Is it a visual effect?
No, in Ireland they have camel. No. We actually brought the camel into the woods, and actually the camel fell in love with Ariane, and she was. During the takes, he would just go next to her and almost kissed her, and
It's your ex-boyfriend.
But I was scared. It doesn't look like something terrible. It was a very difficult experience.
Yes, on the side. You chose a Greek actress to be a heart of the film.
the heartless woman.
The heartless woman?
Yeah. I think I didn't put much thought into that the way you mean. Yeah, it was just yeah. And casting against type. He's very different.
A couple rows back, yes.
I have to say, I really think this is brilliant. You really upset expectations, narrative expectations. Always on the surface, it's just how we're used to watching a movie. But your emotions are very real, very real. You really rudder us through this. So my question is, as a director, how do you keep that emotional truth valid to this very superficial play that you're doing?
Well, it's tricky, I have to say. Did you want to repeat?
I think probably most people are.
Yeah, you never know. You just it's very instinctive, and I try to take each part of the process one at a time. So when we're writing the screenplay, it's only about the screenplay and whether that works on its own, and I don't think about who's going to be in it and how we're going to film it, and what kind of music it will have, and all those sorts of things. So I try to make every part work the way I think it works, but obviously not everyone has the same perception about things, so it can't be the same for everyone. So, and then casting it, I try to cast people that will bring more complexity to it just with their presence. Sometimes it has to be against type, like we said before. Sometimes they fit into their role much more it's more obvious that they fit the role. Then it's adding all these different layers. For instance, in this film, you know, trying what we were discussing before, using music to create a certain kind of sentiment, which might be very romantic, but pairing it with a voiceover which is very observational and distant, that the two of them create a different tone. Then the scene underneath might be something funny, and you know, all of these layers together, they create this other thing. And you don't really know, and you try to tweak it during editing and trying different things. So, and in the end, it's just a, you know, just a process that you go through, and something, you know, different comes out from what you initially thought, and it has to, you know, work for you as a filmmaker, and hopefully other people will perceive it the same way.
Yes, over on the side, the row in back, the gentleman. Yes.
I'm curious as to the choice of the country, the language, and the location.
Choice of country, language, and location.
The country, you mean fictionally, or the actual country that we sought?
Actual.
Ireland. Well, I wanted to make an English language film. I moved to the UK 5 years ago from Greece and making films there, and it was either going to be UK or Ireland, and it happened. We found great locations there, and for other practical reasons as well. We worked with an Irish producer who helped us a lot find the things that we wanted. The language helped there, so yeah.
Yeah, pardon me? Oh, yeah, that some of the characters speaking French. And
it's just because we chose some French actors to portray French characters, and I thought that there wasn't any reason to try and hide that, and we just used it as part of the film, because it takes place in a contemporary world where there are people from all over the world, and the rest of the actors used their accents as well. We didn't try and unify that, so whoever was Irish had an Irish accent, whoever was American had an American accent, Scottish or Greek. Yeah, so it just made sense in the world of the film.
yes, in the center. So it's about the polarized world. You have the city, you have the hotel, and you have the woods. Coming up with those.
Well, it's just basically taking things from reality and just structuring them in a way that fitted our world. So it was just obvious for us that the cities where most people are and where the normal people live, which are couples and families. You know, the idea of the hotel is basically a disguised kind of prison, but with a pleasant environment. So a prison which is kind of remote, but the whole idea in this film and in this world is that it is presented as something ideal, something pleasant where you can spend time and find your mate. And then the forest, because it's a remote space, a forest surrounding it could contain and hide the rebels of this world, the opposition to the government. So yeah, it's just about using, you know, what we know in a slightly different way.
So I'm sorry, but we only have time for 2 more questions. And I'm going to try and remember who's had their hand up for a while. Why don't we take you right here, and then, yes, I'll go over to the side. Yes?
I'm wondering, was there any real life inspiration for the topic of the movie? Like, have you ever in your life felt like you had to find a partner in 45 days?
partner much sooner than that. No, I mean this. No, it's just obviously no, it's not after a real person or anything or a real experience. It's just about observing how we work as a society and the pressure that there is on single people to be with others, or they're considered failures. And I've experienced it as a single person, or the awkwardness of being with other people that are couples, and so yeah, it was not anything specific. And I'd like to be an animal that flies, that is able to fly, so a bird probably.
And I'd like to be a lioness.
So yeah, it was on the side. Okay, then next, across the aisle, sure.
How did you come up with Colin Farrell in any role?
Casting Colin Farrell.
I just thought that he had many different qualities that would add to the character and make him more complex. I watch a lot of other stuff other than the actor's work in films. I watch a lot of interviews and photographs and stuff, and I apart from the fact that I liked him in many films, I thought he was very charming, but quite awkward many times, and he had a great sense of humor, and he was funny. So, I just thought that he had very different qualities that would add a lot to the character.
All right, I think we need to wrap there. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Yorgos and Ariane for being here. The film comes out the
13th?
13th.
Not sure in San Francisco.
What is it? 20th of June.
20th of June
in the
San
Bay Area.
Francisco.
Please tell your friends.